Good morning, MacLaren. Today is Thursday, April 30th, 2020. The weather today, a mix of clouds and sun this morning will give way to cloudy skies this afternoon. High of 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Sun rose this morning at 6:01 a.m. and will set at 7:51 p.m. On this day, April 30th, in the year 1789, on the balcony of Federal Hall on Wall Street in New York City, George Washington took the oath of office to become the first elected president of the United States. And on this date, April 30th, in 1803, the United States purchased the Louisiana Territory from France for $15 million, more than doubling the size of the young nation. Fittingly enough, given that New Orleans in Louisiana is considered to be the birthplace of jazz, today is International Jazz Day. This is an international day declared by UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, to highlight jazz and its diplomatic role of uniting people in all corners of the globe. Jazz, of course, has the distinction of being the first distinctively American art form. Okay. As you are well aware, this is a strange time in American life. And for better or for worse, you are going to remember this time all your life. So I think it is really important now to try to make sure that you remember this time for the better. And one way for you to do that, to find some gratitude and some spirit of joy in all this, because I know sometimes it's frustrating and you miss people and you want to see people, and some families are really just grappling with a lot of complexity right now. But one way for you to really make this time as rich as possible is to stretch yourself, to make time to try new things, to learn new things. Could you learn to do a perfect push-up? How about 20 of them? Could you run a mile every day? Could you run 5 miles? Could you learn the basics of another language? Could you learn how to greet people and order a meal and ask for directions and count to 100 in Spanish and French and Italian? One thing that I would like to come out of this knowing is very humble. I want to learn how to darn or mend a sock. So that's what I'm going to do today. I have all these nice dress socks, and they get holy, and it doesn't feel good to wear a holy sock. You can see that your toe is gonna stick out of there, and it's just uncomfortable, but it's a nice sock, and it seems wasteful to throw it away. So how can I learn to mend or repair or darn a sock? Well, first thing you need to do is take your sock and turn it inside out. And then you need something called a darning egg. Well, I don't have a darning egg because I don't know how to sew really. But I do have an LED light bulb, and that's smooth and hard, and it doesn't have a filament, so I'm not going to shake it and break it. I was also realizing earlier that if my children would let me, I could use the head of a baby doll. Don't tell my children. And so what you do is you take your darning egg or whatever hard plastic or wooden surface that you have, and you put it underneath the hole. And I wasn't quite sure if an actual needle would show up very well here, so I got a weaving or knitting needle, and I'm not actually going to try to darn the sock on camera. It takes a little bit of time, but I just wanted to have something to show you. And so what you do is over the hole, you pick up a little bit of the texture of your fabric. You start around the hole. You don't start right over the hole. And it's called, sewers call it a running stitch, where you take you pick up a little bit of the fabric, and then you go forward and pick up a little bit more of the fabric and go forward, and pick up a little bit more of the fabric and go forward, and pick up a little bit more of the fabric and go forward. And you keep going like that in a nice big line around the hole. And then you turn around and go back the other direction, doing that same stitch, so that you're really starting well away from the hole where you have lots of fabric. And then once you have gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in long vertical lines, then you turn it and you do the same thing crosswise, and you do the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in long horizontal lines. And so what you eventually do is you cover this whole hole, this entire hole, with thread, so that there's a really strong weave covering it. And sometimes people they try to pick a thread that will match and will blend. Sometimes people find it fun to use a thread color that is totally different and just really show you the mending that you've done. Either way can be great. And then when you are all done, you take out your darning egg and you turn your sock back right side out. You have to, of course, bite off the thread and tie a little knot. And then you have a sock that is wearable and patched, and you don't have to throw it away. So that is one thing I would like to come out of the closure knowing how to do, is not being so helpless with my holy socks and not feeling like I have to throw them away and waste them. So I would love to hear from you. If your folks want to shoot me an email and let me know something that you are really practicing and trying to learn how to do, I would love to hear it. Okay, my friends, take heart. Keep tending to your victory garden. Keep a pleasant schedule and a happy routine. Get a lot of fresh air and exercise. Be a helper to your family. Do not altercate with your siblings. If it is your birthday today, April 30th, 2020, happy birthday. I hope you all have a day of kindness, friendliness, and peace. We are all in this together. See you next time.